Hi, it's Jimmy, and today I'm going to be talking about reviews, book reviews. Who are they for? Should we tag authors in? Should authors be reading book reviews at all? Do reviews need to be constructive criticism if you don't like a book, or can you just rant about it in a review? So, this is a topic that comes up especially on book Twitter and booktube and just the book world quite often. Every couple of months it will come up. Often because there's been a really bad review of a book that an author has taken an issue with and they've started tweeting about it, and that is what has happened this week. So a few days ago, at the time of filming, a book blogger had DNF'd a book that they had received an advanced reader copy of. They put a 2-sentence review on Goodreads saying why they didn't like it, and that sparked several days of drama when the author of the book started tweeting about this review and, to be honest, being quite nasty about the book blogger. And in my opinion, in that case at least, the author was fully in the wrong with how they were responding to the blogger. Worse things can happen when an author takes issue with a bad review on Goodreads. For example, a few years ago there was the case of Kathleen Hale, an author who became obsessed with a 1-star negative review of one of her books on Goodreads and ended up stalking the person who wrote the review, even finding out where they lived and driving to their house. So that's an extreme example. I think there are even worse examples. In this case, it stayed on Twitter. Thankfully, nobody turned up at anybody's house. But it's still a really nasty experience for the blogger. The author might argue that it was a really bad experience for them reading the review in the first place. But that kind of raises the question of, who do we write or make video reviews for? Should the authors be reading them? Should we be keeping that in mind when we're making the reviews? Should we be tagging authors when we post about a review on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere? Should we be @ing them so they get a notification that we've posted this review? Should we only do that when it's a positive review? Should we never do that? And there's also questions around the limits of a review. Some people have argued we shouldn't even be posting negative reviews. We should be staying positive in our reviews. Or if we do post a negative review, I've seen people say it needs to be constructive criticism, constructive feedback. And then I think it's complicated as well by who the author is. Are they an independent first-time author without a big following, or are they a multi-millionaire, multiple bestseller writing celebrity author? I don't have all the answers here, but I'm just going to discuss it a bit and share my opinion. And if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. And I've got a couple more of these discussion-y type videos coming up. So if you want to see more of my bad opinions, subscribe to the channel. So when we talk about, first of all, I want to address the issue of the boundaries of a review, and specifically the concept that a review should be constructive, which I have seen. I don't think this is necessarily a really common opinion, but it is one that I've seen and sort of irked me a little bit. I don't feel that a negative review needs to be constructive. The reviewer isn't the author's editor or their creative writing lecturer or their mentor. They're a reviewer of a finished product which has been published. If they're someone that the author has asked, hey, could you have a look at this draft for me? Or if they're being paid to edit the book, then yeah, you shouldn't be writing, I hate this is rubbish. That's not helping anybody. But if you're a reader, if you've paid for a copy of the book, you had a really bad time reading it, you're not necessarily expected to be a creative writing expert. You should be able to express your opinion that you didn't enjoy the book without giving pointers on how it could have been improved. So I personally don't feel a negative review has any obligation to be constructive. I think it's a good idea not to be personal and nasty and say the author who wrote this is a complete idiot just because you didn't like the book. Maybe if the author is expressing some opinion and they're a big racist or something, then fair enough. So who is a review for? As I said, we as reviewers, we're not the author's editor, publisher, publicist. I don't think we're really writing it to tell the author what we thought of the book. I feel we write reviews for different people. Some of us write reviews or record reviews for our own personal record, so we can, 2 years down the line when we've read another 1 billion books or another 3 books, we might want to go back and say, oh, I remember reading that. What was it all, what was it about? Or what did I like about that one again? Was that the one with the great characters but the rubbish plot or something like that? And we can go back and read our own reviews, and it's just the most convenient place to post them is on Goodreads or YouTube or something. Maybe we just want to be able to talk about books with other people who like books, and trashing something together can be fun. Rants on YouTube tend to get a lot of views. Not on my channel, nothing gets a lot of views, and I don't do a lot of rants. And so I think someone doing a harsh review for their audience, that's fair enough. If they have fun making it and the audience has fun watching it, and they're not saying anything slanderous or personal about the author, then I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. And I also don't necessarily think it puts people off of buying the book. Lots of people have said that when they read a negative review or they watch a negative review on YouTube, sometimes they hear what is said about the book, they hear what that person didn't like about it, and they think, oh, actually, I like that kind of book that they're talking about, I'm going to go and get it. Or even, everyone's trashing this book, I've got to see what all the fuss is about, or I'm going to go and buy this book so I can do my own reaction video. I also think with any book, if enough people read it, some of them are going to like it, some of them won't like it. With pretty much any book, I might think it's the worst book ever, and someone else is going to love it. And with my absolute favourite book, someone else is going to hate it. And if enough people read it, that's just going to be the case. And if lots of people read it, hopefully lots of people will review it. And some of those will be positive, and some of those will be negative. And people can go and read both and make up their own minds about whether this looks like something they're going to buy. So I think authors shouldn't be too worried about the odd negative review. If all your reviews are negative, then maybe go away and write a different kind of book or market it differently. Find your audience that's going to enjoy it, because someone's bound to out there. So personally, I don't think we have any obligation to put any limits on how harsh we are in reviewing a book. I also think that if we didn't publish any negative reviews and every book had only positive reviews, then we're missing half the story. Finally, to the question of should we be tagging authors in reviews. So one author that I follow on Twitter, Eliza Clarke, she's had her debut novel published recently, Boy Parts. It's had a really good, excited response, I think, on most social media. Lots of really good positive reviews. Yes, it had some bad reviews too. And Eliza Clarke, as a new author, a newly published author, has been kind of sharing her experience quite openly on Twitter. She's definitely worth a follow, so check her out if you don't follow her already. And she's been posting a little bit about this. So one thing, she tweeted recently saying, so she said, how do you feel about being authors tagged in reviews in general? Like, it's great to be tagged in positive reviews, but I've been a little about being tagged in like lukewarm 3 stars, and I feel a bit like, are these really for me? Do I need to see this? I feel like the general consensus is don't tag people in negative reviews. So it has been a little weird the odd couple of times I've been tagged in like, here's a push notification for 2 paragraphs of stuff I didn't like about your book, which I ended up thinking was okay. And I think that's a fair point. She goes on to say, anyway, I do like being tagged in positive reviews because it's just nice, but would prefer not to be tagged in mixed or negative reviews, even if your conclusion was that you liked it. Like, I prefer not to get a notification and unwittingly read 2 paragraphs of what you personally disliked. So that's Eliza Clarke's take, and I think that's fair enough. Personally, I wouldn't tag an author in a mediocre or negative review. Again, like she says, why they don't need to read that, And as I've kind of explained, I don't really see my reviews or reviews in general as being for the author. So that tweet thread got me thinking, when I do tag an author in a review, why do I do that? And to be honest, the main reason I do that, if I make a video about a book, I tweet about it, and then if I tag the author, the real reason I do that is that I'm hoping they'll retweet it. That is pretty much the only reason, is to promote my own video. So I think I'm going to stop tagging authors altogether in videos, because that idea of, oh, if I tag them, they'll retweet me, they might, firstly, they often don't retweet it, so what's the point? And I think having that in the back of my head when I'm doing reviews might make me put a different spin on the review that's more about thinking, I hope they'll retweet this and get me some more subscribers, rather than giving an honest and fair review. So I think I'm going to stop doing that so I can keep my reviews fair and honest, and I can keep under the assumption that no author is going to see any of my videos or my reviews. So my conclusions are, I don't feel we need to hold back or have any obligation to hold back in negative reviews. I don't think reviews are really for authors. I think they can be for all sorts of people. Maybe sometimes they're for authors, but I think they're pretty low down the list. And I personally am going to stop tagging authors in any reviews, because I think that it's for a reason. The reason I've been doing it might end up biasing the review or something like that. My final note, if there are any authors watching this, is just to remind them that a bad review might or might not do any harm, but reacting to the bad review on Twitter is likely to do a lot more harm to your book sales and your literary career than the bad review itself would have done. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'm sure this topic's going to come up again in a couple of months on Twitter, and in the meantime, thanks for watching.